I was on the outskirts of a little southern town, trying to reach my destination before the sun went down. The old CB was blaring away on Channel 19 when there came a little boy's voice on the radio line. And he said, "Breaker 19, is anyone there? Come on back, truckers, and talk to Teddy Bear." Well, I keyed the mic and I said, "You got it, Teddy Bear." And the little boy's voice came back on the air. "Appreciate the break. Who we got on that end?" I told him my handle, and then he began. "Now, I'm not supposed to bother you fellas out there. Mom says you're busy and for me to stay off the air. But you see, I get lonely and it helps to talk, 'cause that's about all I can do. I'm crippled and I can't walk." I came back and told him to fire up that mic, and I'd talk to him as long as he liked. "This was my dad's radio," the little boy said, "but I guess it's mine and Mom's now, 'cause my daddy's dead. Dad had a wreck about a month ago. He was trying to get home in the blinding snow. Mom has to work now to make ends meet, and I'm not much help with my 2 crippled feet. She says not to worry, that we'll make it all right, but I hear her crying sometimes late at night. You know, there's one thing I want more than anything else to see. Oh, I know you guys are too busy to bother with me, but you see, my dad used to take me for rides when he was home. But I guess that's all over now since my daddy's gone. Not one breaker came on the old CB as that little crippled boy talked with me. I tried hard to swallow a lump that just wouldn't stay down as I thought about my boy back in Greenville town. Dad was going to take Mom and me with him later on this year. Well, I remember him saying, "Someday this old truck will be yours, Teddy Bear." But I know I'll never get to ride an 18-wheeler again. But this old base will keep me in touch with all my trucker friends. Teddy Bear's going to back on out now and leave you alone, 'cause it's about time for Mom to come home. But you give me a shout when you're passing through, and I'll sure be happy to come back to you. Well, I came back and I said, "Before you go, 1010, what's your home 20, little CB friend?" Well, he gave me his address, and I didn't once hesitate, 'cause this hot load of freight is just going to have to wait. I turned that truck around on a dime and headed straight for Jackson Street, 229. And as I rounded the corner, oh, I got one heck of a shock. 18-wheelers were lined up for 3 city blocks. Well, I guess every driver for miles around had caught Teddy Bear's call. And that little crippled boy was having a ball. For as fast as one driver would carry him in, another would carry him to his truck and take off again. Well, you better believe I took my turn at riding Teddy Bear. And then I carried him back in and put him down in his chair. And buddy, if I never live to see happiness again, I want you to know I saw it that day in the face of that little man. We took up a collection for him before his mama got home, and each driver said goodbye, and then they were all gone. He shook my hand with a mile-long grin and said, "So long, trucker, I'll catch you again." Well, I hit that interstate with tears in my eyes. And I turned on the radio and I got another surprise. "Breaker 19, came a voice on the air. Just one word of thanks from Mama Teddy Bear. We wish each and every one a special prayer for you, 'cause you just made my little boy's dream come true." I'll sign off now before I start to cry. May God ride with you. 10-4, and goodbye.
Dream high. lucky one and have found a love that's true.
I was looking through the morning paper like a lot of us do every day when I saw an ad that caught my eye. And this is what it had to say. One dream house for sale. It's a bargain for nothing down. And there's no closing cost for the dreams I lost when the girl I love left town. There's 5 rooms, a bath on an acre of land, and a nursery painted pink and blue. A baby bed and a little white high chair, and it's all almost brand new. There's a sad-eyed old dog in a picket fence around a yard that's full of weeds. Why, just one look and it's easy to see a little love is all that it needs.
Dream house for sale. If you found a love that's true.
The only thing wrong with this house of mine is the black cloud that hangs above. I guess it's there to keep out the sunshine, since mine's a house without love. That's just about all there is to tell about a boy and his love that failed. 4 words tell the rest of my story. Dream house for sale.
Dream house for sale. Maybe it's meant for you. If you're among the lucky ones and have found a love that's true.
Well, it feels so good to be coming home after all these years. Well, it feels so good to know that I can still cry real tears. Over there's my old alma mater, still covered with ivy vine, where I was voted most likely to succeed. Class of 49. There's a little ice cream parlor where many an afternoon I sat and boasted of the day I'd be a big tycoon. And my classmates sat and listened with admiration of my great mind. So I was voted most likely to succeed. Class of 49. In that big house up on the hill lives the girl I left behind. I hated to, but I knew she'd only slow down my climb. I can't wait to see all their faces when they see that I'm back, and how surprised they're gonna be when I pull up in this Cadillac. I wanna thank you again for the ride, young man, and thanks for this bottle of wine. The guy most likely to succeed thanks you very kind. The guy most likely to succeed, class of 49. Keep my love locked in your heart, in your heart, in your heart. Keep my love locked in your heart and promise you'll be true. I must sail across the sea. While I'm gone, my prayer will be that you'll save your love for me and keep me in your heart. Keep my love locked in your heart, in your heart, in your heart. Keep my love locked in your heart and promise you'll be true. Go and see my mom and dad. My leavings left them feeling sad, but I know they will be glad if I am in your heart. So keep my love locked in your heart, in your heart, in your heart. Keep my love locked in your heart and promise you'll be true. Other loves will come along, try to tempt you while I'm gone, but I know you'll do no wrong if I am in your heart. So keep my love locked in your heart, in your heart, in your heart. Keep my love locked in your heart and promise you'll be true. So keep my love locked in your heart, in your heart, in your heart. Keep my love locked in your heart. The highways that wind and wander over mountains and valleys, deserts and plains, I guess I've drove about all of them. 'Cause for the past 25 years now, the cab of a truck has been my home. And it'd be kind of hard for me to settle down and not be on the go. Well, I remember the first truck I drove. I was so proud I could hardly wait to get home to show my wife and little boy. And my little boy was so excited like when he saw his first snow. And he wasn't old enough to say too many words. He just kept hollering, "Giddy-up go, Daddy, giddy-up go." So that's what I named the old truck, Giddy-up Go. Oh, things wasn't too bad. Of course, I was gone a lot. And after about 6 years, I got home one day and found my wife and little boy gone. I couldn't find out what happened. Nobody seemed to know. So from that day on, it's been me and old Giddy-up Go. I've made a lot of friends at all the truck stops, and some of them would kid me about my little sign. Of course, they knew where I got the name, because I told them about that little boy of mine, and how his first word about the truck was Giddy-up Go. Today I was barreling down old 66 when up beside me pulled a brand new diesel rig, both stacks blowing black coal. And as he pulled around and back in front of me, a big lump came in my throat, and my eyes watered like I had a bad old cold. A little sign on the back of the truck that read, Giddy-up Go. Well, I pushed old Giddy-up and stayed right on him until the next truck stop where he'd pulled up. I waited till he went in and I offered to buy him a cup. Well, we got to talking shop and I said, "How did you come by the name on your truck, Giddy-up Go?" Well, he said, "I got it from my pop. Dad used to drive a truck. That's what Mom talked about a lot. You see, I lost Mom when I was just past 16, and I lost all track of Pop. Mom said he got the name from me. I shook his hand and told him that I had something I wanted him to see. I took him out to the old truck and brushed off some of the dirt so the name would show. And his eyes got big and bright as he read, Giddyup Go. Oh, we had a lot of things to talk about, and buddy, I felt like a king. And now we've just pulled back on old 66, and he handled that rig better than any gear jammer that I'd ever seen. Well, now the lines on the highway have got a much brighter glow as we go roaring down the road, and me staring at a little sign that reads, Giddyup Go. Mr. Angry Neighbor, yes, I know just how you feel, 'cause I've been taking your fruit, but don't tell me I steal. I haven't been in your yard, my tracks ain't on your ground, your tree hangs over my fence the nights you're not around. I didn't jump the fence, the fruit was offered free. I couldn't reach your apples if you just trim the tree. Well, sure, I've held your darling, but mister, where's your sense? She's the one got lonely. I didn't jump the fence. Now, friend, you see that little trail that runs between our home? These ain't the shoes that wore it there the nights that you were gone. So don't show me your anger or shout I stole a kiss when she did all the walking. I didn't jump the fence. I didn't jump the fence. The fruit was offered free. I couldn't reach your apples if you'd just trim the tree. Well, sure, I've held your darling, but mister, where's your sense? She's the one got lonely. I didn't jump the fence. Normally, Norma's kissing me just about this time every morning. With a gleam in her eye, she whispers goodbye. Then she tells me something sweet that knocks me off of my feet. 'Cause normally, Norma thinks of me as just the swellest guy in the world. Oh, but normally, Norma loves me. One word led to another over a harmless joke. Then Norma went home to her mother. I guess her little heart was broke. Oh, normally, Norma's waiting on me every evening when the sun goes down. When I get home from work in my dirty old shirt, she pulls off my shoes and it's a goodbye blues. 'Cause normally, Norma tenderly cuddles up to me. Oh, but normally, Norma loves me. Joe. Then Norma went home to her mother. I guess her little heart was broke. Oh, Norma Lee, Norma's waiting on me every evening when the sun goes down. When I get home from work in my dirty old shirt, she pulls off my shoes and it's a goodbye blues. 'Cause Norma Lee, Norma tenderly cuddles up to me. Oh, but Norma Lee, Norma loves me. Oh, but Norma Lee, Norma loves me. Little Rosa was her name, and still I cry in vain. My world won't be the same since she's gone from me. I had gone to visit the grave of a friend of mine, and as I walked through the graveyard, I noticed this man kneeling down by the grave of a child. And in his hand he held a big red rose, and tears were streaming down his cheeks. I walked over and laid a hand on his shoulder and started to talk to him. And during the course of our conversation, and in his broken English, this is the story just as he told it to me. He said, "Mister, I'm a-walking down the street today, and I pass by a big flower shop. I walk in and I ask the man in the shop, I say, 'Boss, how much for one red rose?' And he looked at me with one a bigger frown, and he says, 'I want $1, please.' But then by and by, a swell-dressed blonde young lady walk in, and she says, 'How much for one red rose?' And he looked at her with one a big smile, and he says, 10 cents. And I said, 'Boss, how come you charging me $1 for the rose, and you charge the young lady only 10 cents?' And he says, 'Look, mister, you telling me why you want the rose, and maybe I'll give it to you for naught.' And I said, 'Boss, I'm a hard worker man, working the railroad and only make a $3 a day. And I got a little girl, and her name is Rosa. Rosa's just about this high, boss. Every day when I come home from my work, a little Rosa come running to meet her papa. She'd throw her little arms around my neck and say, 'Papa,' and I'd say, 'Rosa.' But the one day, boss, I come home from my work, and I don't see Rosa. I look down by the railroad track, and I see one a bigger crowd. I go down and I push the crowd this way, and I push the crowd that way, and there, boss, at my feet lay my little Rosa. And that's why I want the Rosa, boss. I want to put him on little Rosa's grave. The man, he don't say not, but he picked the biggest and the reddest rose, and he give it to me. And I say, 'Thank you, boss. Thank you very much.'" And though she's gone, you see, she's still the world to me. To me, she'll always be that little girl of mine. On our little girl's 3rd birthday, she got a sandbox in the backyard to play. Sand was everywhere, As she played and she laughed, I fussed at her, for it killed all my grass.
It'll come back. It'll come back. Daddy, don't be mad. God and the rain will bring it back.
When our little girl just turned 10, she got a bike to ride with all her friends. She skinned both her knees as she played and she laughed. I busted her, for it killed all my grass.
It'll come back. It'll come back. Daddy, don't be mad. God and the rain will bring it back.
When our little girl turned 17, we built her a pool in the backyard that spring. All her friends came and they swam and they splashed. I fussed at her, for it killed all my grass.
It'll come back. It'll come back. Daddy, don't be mad. God and the rain will bring it back.
My wife and I sit on the porch all alone as I look out across at my beautiful lawn. The house is quiet, there's no children at play, and I said to my wife, honey, if you'll listen real close, you can still hear her say,
It'll come back. It'll come back. It'll come back. It'll come back. Daddy, don't be mad. God and the rain will bring it back. It'll come back. It'll come back. It'll come back. It'll come back. Daddy, don't be mad. God and the rain will bring it back. It'll come back. It'll come back. It'll come back. It'll come back. Daddy, don't be mad.
I was out on the West Coast trying to make a buck, and things didn't work out. I was down on my luck. Got tired of roaming and bumming around, so I started thumbing back east toward my hometown. Made a lot of miles the first 2 days, and I figured I'd be home in a week if my luck held out this way. But the third night, I got stranded way out of town at a cold, lonely crossroads. Rain was pouring down. I was hungry and freezing, done caught a chill, when the lights of a big semi topped the hill. Lord, I sure was glad to hear them air brakes come on. And I climbed in that cab where I knew it'd be warm. At the wheel sat a big man. He weighed about 210. He stuck out his hand and said with a grin, Big Joe's the name. I told him mine. And he said the name of my rig is Phantom 309. Well, I asked him why he called his rig such a name. He said, son, this old Mac can put 'em all to shame. There ain't a driver or a rig a-running any line that's seen nothing but taillights from Phantom 309. Well, we rode and talked the better part of the night when the lights of a truck stop came in sight. He said, I'm sorry, son, this is as far as you go, 'cause I gotta make a turn just on up the road. Well, he tossed me a dime as he pulled her in low and said, have yourself a hot cup on old Big Joe. When Joe and his rig roared out in the night, in nothing flat, he was clean out of sight. Well, I went inside and ordered me a cup, told the waiter Big Joe was setting me up. Oh, you could have heard a pin drop. It got deathly quiet.
and the waiter's face turned kind of white. "Well, did I say something wrong?" I said with a halfway grin. He said, "No, this happens every now and then. Every driver in here knows Big Joe. But son, let me tell you what happened about 10 years ago. At the crossroads tonight where you flagged him down, there was a busload of kids coming from town. And they were right in the middle when Big Joe topped the hill. It could have been slaughter, but he turned his wheels. Well, Joe lost control, went into a skid, and gave his life to save that bunch of kids. And there at that crossroads was the end of a line for Big Joe and Phantom 309. But every now and then, some hiker will come by, and like you, Big Joe will give him a ride. Here, have another cup, and forget about the dime. Keep it as a souvenir from Big Joe and Phantom 309.
Tell Maude I slipped and fell.
Tell Maude I slipped and fell. Hurt myself bad all over, almost tore me all apart. Tell Maude I slipped and fell. Just a few cuts and bruises mostly. It nearly broke my heart. She made it known that she would break my will. And I'll admit she gave me quite a spill. Tell Maude I slipped and fell. Just the way she said I would, but tell her she can't hold me down.
Tell Maude I slipped and fell. Tell Maude I slipped and fell.
Tell Maude I slipped and fell. Accidents sure can happen, and mine nearly got me down. Tell Maude I slipped and fell, but I had enough strength left inside me to make it out of town. She thought the pain she caused would always last. I got hurt bad, but I recovered fast. Tell Maude I slipped and fell, just the way she said I would, but tell her she can't hold me down. Just tell her she can't hold me down. Some time ago, I was sipping on some coffee and having some ham and biscuits when a motion caught my eye through the truck stop window. It was a little lost puppy, half-starved and shaking from fear. Well, I just had to make friends with him. So I picked him up and put him in the cab. And Buddy, he took to that truck like he was born there. Well, I named him Little Joe. And as I watched him sleep on the seat beside me, that's when I knew that Little Joe would be with me for a long, long time. Well, a few months later, I was talking to my old friend Teddy Bear on the old CB and not paying much attention to my back door. And Little Joe started barking up a storm. I looked up and I saw a Smoky in the mirror, and I slowed my rig down just in time. But you know something? Teddy Bear heard Little Joe barking, and he said, "Hey, Big Red, let me talk to your partner." And I said, "You got it, good buddy. How's the old Smoky situation, Little Joe?" And Little Joe said, "Rough." Oh, that just tore him up. And the next 200 miles just flew by, 'cause everybody on that CB wanted to talk to Little Joe. Well, one night we were headed through the Smokies in East Tennessee, and Little Joe started acting real nervous. I heard the sounds of lightning on the old CB, and suddenly we were in the worst storm that I'd ever seen. All at once, I saw headlights coming straight at my rig. Someone was blinded in the rain, so I swerved fast and just barely missed a camper full of kids. But the shoulder gave way, and we crashed over the side of the mountain. And when I woke up, my truck was on fire, and I couldn't move. But somehow, little Joe grabbed me by the collar and pulled me away from that burning rig. Well, I was in the hospital the next time I woke up, and the doctor was there to break the bad news. The accident had taken my sight. Oh, God, now I can't even drive. And that's when I realized how helpless Teddy Bear must have felt before the miracle happened that made him walk again. And then I thought, well, now, where's little Joe? Ain't nobody said anything about little... Oh, I was so sad, because I figured little Joe had given his life to save me. Well, my brother asked me to come live with him, and when he opened the door to my new room, I heard an old CB just a-blaring away. Well, I couldn't wait to grab that mic, and the first voice I heard was my old buddy Teddy Bear, ratchet jawing in the distance. So I broke for him, and he came right back to me. Why, it was almost like old times again. Teddy Bear was a-yakking away, unloading all the latest news on me and getting louder and louder. But all of a sudden, the sound of an engine seemed to drown Teddy Bear out. And I said, "Hey, what's going on?" Teddy Bear said, "Open your front door, good buddy, I'm just outside." Lord, the roar of engine seemed to rock the house. And all around me, I could hear familiar voices and slamming doors. Oh, I couldn't hold back the tears. All my friends were there. And then I heard something I couldn't believe. Little Joe? That bark? Why, it had to be little Joe. And no sooner than that, he was all over me. And I put my arms around my old partner, and the tears were streaming down my face. And then I felt something strange. Little Joe hadn't worn a collar before, and attached to the collar was a handle. A hush fell over my friends, and I realized, Lord, my new eyes were standing at my feet. Little Joe. I recall the night that you came into this world. I couldn't believe the doctor when he said it's a little girl. Oh, I said, "Now, Doc, you must be wrong. You see, I want a boy." Then he laid you in my arms, and my heart sang with joy.
Daddy's girl, Daddy's girl, I'm the center of Daddy's world. I know I'm Daddy's number one, for he loves me like I was his son. Daddy's girl.
I recall the day I took you to a baseball game. You brought along your baby doll and half its baby things. We sat there a-playing house while the Dodgers played the Braves. And everyone in the bleachers looked at us as if to say,
Daddy's girl, Daddy's girl, I'm the center of Daddy's world. I know I'm Daddy's number one, for he loves me like I was his son. Daddy's girl.
I recall the day I took you on a fishing trip. You said, "Daddy, won't that hook hurt the fish's lip?" And you said, "If they don't get air, those things in the can will die." So we turned the worms loose and chased some butterflies.
Daddy's girl, Daddy's girl, I'm the center of Daddy's world.
recall the day that your young man come to call. Seems like only yesterday we swam and played football. But I know the time has come that I must set you free. But no matter where you are, you know what you are to me.
Daddy's girl, Daddy's girl, I'm the center of Daddy's world. I know I'm Daddy's number one, for he loves me like I was his son. Daddy's girl, Daddy's girl, Daddy's girl, I'm the
Today, I've been counting the many blessings in the family my dad raised. All the love we shared through the years has come back to me in many ways. And today, my mind flashed back to my childhood days. I recall my first day of school and how much it hurt my dad to see me start off in patched up blue jeans. But Dad, today that's the style. My boy won't go anywhere without his patched up jeans. They're old and faded, and they look like they've never been cleaned. And I remember Sunday school and how I'd get mad when you'd make me go. But now I can see why that was so important to you, because we prayed together and we stayed together. Now, my dad was a man that knew his own mind. And I remember when he'd call us all together and he'd say, "Family, it's loving time." His world was built around Mom and the 4 kids they raised. And I can still see the smile that always came on Mama's face each time Dad would say the table grace. The house was filled with lots of noise, but when we got too loud, Dad would always say, "Oh, those devilish boys." There was 3 of us. The 4th was a girl. Well, you know Dad had a choice, a favorite, that is. But he'd say, "I love one just as much as I love the other." Oh, would you look at her? She looks just like her mother. I've heard a lot of other people talk about my dad and talk about the things that he'd done when he was young. Because I might be a little bit prejudiced, but he was the best in the county when it came to a contest and games. Because he could outrun, outbox, outshoot any of the professionals that came to town. Now, my dad was a good man, and his family came first, and he did his best for us. And I know sometimes he worked till it hurt. The Depression wasn't an easy time. $1 a day was the pay back then. And I remember my dad leaving the house before daybreak and walking 14 miles to get to work without being late. Oh, I guess everyone remembers the good times and the bad. Good times were happy, and bad times were sad. And when I'd do something wrong, he'd straighten me out with his hand or a belt out behind the house. But now, Mama didn't raise her voice or fuss when we get out of hand. She'd just say, "Now that's enough." And if we didn't obey, she'd tell Dad what was wrong, and without a question, Dad would lay it on. While we picked cotton, chopped cotton, stacked hay, pulled corn. Well, that's the way we made our living back then on the farm. But things are different now, because it's like a new world we're living in. Everything's a mad rush, not enough time for friends. And when I think of my dad, it makes me proud, you see, because he gave so much of himself to make life easier for me. Now, not everyone is lucky as I am to have a father who wanted the best for me out of life. And now when I hear a church bell chime, it's almost like my dad saying, "Family, it's loving time." So why don't you go to your dad right now and tell him you love him? And I'll bet you $1 against a dog biscuit that it will mean more to him than any gift that money could ever buy. 'Cause, you know, you can't ever repay him for all the things he's done for you. And the best way I know to let him know is just say, Daddy, I love you. I drive a big Freightliner and I make a last payment today. And I drive to all points out of New York City to L.A. Well, the little woman smiles when I pack up to leave her. I'll soon be back, but I just got the fever. She's a believer. I got the Freightliner fever. There's a railroad running by the highway out in Santa Fe. And I passed an old freight train making his run the other day. Merle Haggard said to his fireman so pale, he's a-blowing this freight train off of the rail. He got the fever. Fever. He's got the Freightliner fever. Well, Pierce said, rid of what you can in that cigarette pack. I said, I got my second driver and he's gonna drive all the way back. It's a big black pill so long and round. To a driver, it's a West Coast turn around. It's for the fever. Fever. That old Freightliner fever. Well, I passed Dave Dudley up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I passed Dale Reeves down in Shreveport, Louisiana. Dick Curtis got a hung on a hill up in Maine. I pulled him on over with my 40-foot chain. He got the fever. Fever. He's got the Freightliner fever. I've been a-passing everything from a Jimmy to a Greyhound bus. I'm gonna spend a few days out on the West Coast to end my run. You know, Giddyup Go and a little bit of luck. I'm gonna pass Red Simpson in his runaway truck. He's got the fever. Fever. He's got the Freightliner fever. Well, Pierce said, rid of what you can in that cigarette pack. I said, I got my second driver and he's gonna drive all the way back. It's a big black pill so long and round. To a driver, it's a West Coast turn around. It's for the fever. Fever. That old Freightliner fever. Oh, out on this road you pass a lot of them old country boys. I seen Carl Smith, Charlie Pride, Ernest Tubb, Bill Monroe, Conway Twitty, Waylon Jennings, see Dave Dudley, George Jones, Porter Wagner, Bill Anderson, Farron Young, Stonewall Jackson, Roy The day I met you, my heart spoke to me. It said to love you to eternity. Not knowing that you were another's bride, I vowed I'd always be close by your side. You know I love you and I always will. I know you're married, but I love you still. You broke a heart, dear, that would die for you. I'd give the world, dear, to belong to you. But the game